Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Karen Kozia Phillips. C News is live at noon.
And I'm Nasira Mohammed with sport.
Topping the news at this time, the preliminary investigation into an incident which left a 9-year-old student with a broken arm shows he suffered the injuries as a result of engaging in a wrestling simulation with a classmate. This from President of the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, who said he spoke with the school's principal on the matter. The child was taken to hospital on Wednesday after it was reported his classmate physically assaulted him in the play park at the Mayaro Government Primary School. As a result of the attack, the 9-year-old suffered a broken arm. And now there is the possibility that he may not be able to write again. Tutor President Linsley Dudai told us he spoke with the principal of the school to find out what took place. He said he was informed that while the substantive investigation is yet to be completed, the children were engaging in the simulation of a wrestling move.
In so doing, the child fell and injured his hand. That is what was told to him by the school's principal, and it shows an entirely different light on the whole situation, because on one hand we have the parent who is claiming that the child was bullied, and now the school is saying that it was the simulation of a wrestling move that resulted in the injury. And this morning I saw on Facebook parents from the school commenting to that effect, that their children came home and told them that the children were engaged in a game simulating a wrestling move.
As it stands, he said people should not jump to the conclusion that it was as a result of bullying.
We have to get all the facts before we jump to any conclusion about bullying or what have you. In fact, the principal told me the day before the incident happened on Wednesday. On Tuesday, the teacher would have spoken to the children about engaging in those kinds of dangerous games.
As for claims by the child's parents that reports were made to the school's principal that the child had been bullied in the past, Mr. Dudai said he would have to get more information on this. And the Ministry of Education has said a report into the incident should be handed over in the next 2 to 3 working days. While addressing the incident, Education Minister Anthony Garcia stressed that he wasn't going to make any assumptions on the matter and preferred to wait until the ministry had finished investigating the incident that took place at the Mayaro Government Primary School. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education has been providing training for teachers to notice students who have been abused. This as the Joint Select Committee began discussions on the systems in place to protect children from abuse this morning. According to the Chief Education Officer, through the Student Support Services, are asked to report any reports of abuse, but there are some problems with the system.
And that's an ongoing process. Because of challenges with actual numbers, we have to prioritize. So if there's a case of abuse that is presented, that is given priority as opposed to a training session. So that you are right, there may be instances where we have cases which may present symptoms, but in some situations it may not have been picked up.
In some other news now, police are currently at the School for the Blind in Santa Cruz, where the president of the Blind Welfare Association, Kenneth Surratt, is said to have locked himself inside the building. In a statement issued last evening, Mr. Surratt said the association has closed the school indefinitely since the Ministry of Education bypassed them on several decisions made. He also wanted the principal of the school and his wife, a senior teacher there, to be removed and replaced. Executive Director of CAFA, Dr. James Hospitalis, who's associated with the Group Persons Associated with Visual Impairment, PAVI, said he's puzzled at the actions of Mr. Surratt. He said a critical situation is now taking place at the School for the Blind. And we'll keep you updated on this matter as more information comes to hand. A Tamakit man who was reported missing on Tuesday has been found dead. 55-year-old Stanley Citran was found on Thursday evening near his garden. It's believed his attacker dealt him several chops, resulting in his death. Further news now, former Prime Minister Basdeo Panday says a state of emergency cannot be a way of solving crime. And he's questioning what the police would do under an SOE that they cannot do now. On a Facebook post, he said if such a measure is used, then why not recommend a total state of emergency forever? He said we have to come better than that. Mr. Pandey said you do not need a rocket scientist to tell you what to do about crime. We all know what has to be done. But he said this and the last government did not have the guts or political will to do it. There have been 58 murders for the year so far. You're watching the CNews Live report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at ctvtt.com, or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at CNews Live. Wajihatul Islamia, the Islamic Front, says it will attempt to get answers on government's proposed amendment to the terrorism bill today. The group plans to gather outside the Parliament building in Port of Spain from 2 this afternoon during the sitting of the House of Representatives. Head of the group, Umar Abdullah, says many Muslims are concerned about the bill and wonders whether the Attorney General is being guided by the behavior of foreign leaders. At the post-cabinet media briefing on Thursday, Attorney General Faraz Al-Rawi outlined several changes he wanted to make to the anti-terrorism legislation in bills that would be taken to Parliament today. Among them, he said, will be the definition of terrorists to now include individuals as well as organizations, threat or preparatory actions and terrorist acts committed in other jurisdictions. The definition of the property of or funds for terrorism will also be expanded. Traveling to or remaining in certain locations would also constitute a presumption that the travel was for a terrorist act. The Association of Trinidad and Tobago Insurance Companies, ATIC, says it is pleased to hear the insurance bill will be taken back to Parliament for debate. The organization is recommending the bill be sent to a joint select committee with a deadline of no more than 3 months for a report to be presented. ATIC says the current economic climate has, however, exposed some weaknesses in the original bill as drafted, and the opportunity should be taken to make the appropriate amendments. To other news now, 42 people from 14 families have been asked to leave their residence at Penal Rock Road. This after the Office of the Commissioner of State Lands has served them notices of eviction. The notices were given to them on January 25th and stated they had 7 days to vacate the premises. Should they fail to do so, legal action will be taken against them. Without anywhere to go, the families have turned to their lawyer for help.
There are about 42 persons affected by the notices because they served 14 families. Now, this was notices given by the Commissioner of State Lands for them to evict and remove their property within 7 days, which would have expired on Wednesday, the 31st of January. And these persons have been there for over 30 years. You know, they had agriculture on the lands, they planted the land. When they got money, they started to build their homes on the land. And now, all of a sudden, they receive notices within 7 days to remove themselves from the land.
Mr. Hossain said any action to have the residents removed is being resisted, as he noted that in the law they have title to the land.
Once you occupy state lands for over a period of 30 years, the state no longer can bring a claim against you. It means that these persons would have acquired the land through adverse possession. So they have a right, a possessory title to the land. What we're trying to do right now, we're in the stage of gathering evidence because we need to present evidence before the court to show that there was occupation for over 30 years.
While earlier this week, residents of Vega de Oropuch protested over the same issue. They all claimed to be living on the lands for 2 to 3 decades and wanted to know why this sudden move. Let's now take a look at the weather forecast.
The breezy conditions will be a factor across many parts of eastern Trinidad in particular, so watch out for palms to sway and flags to ripple. A few blustery showers are also possible, favoring eastern Trinidad along the hilly areas and into Tobago. Otherwise, it will be a mainly sunny end to the day with just a few clouds from time to time. Look for a high between 30 and 32 degrees Celsius in Trinidad and Tobago, with a more comfortable night and clearer skies ahead later. For mariners and bathers, remain cautious, especially across eastern areas and northeast of Tobago, with rough waters expected at times of 2.5 to 3 meters and possibly nearer 3.5 meters further out in the Atlantic. The strong easterly winds of 20 knots will continue to whip the seas with some spray, and easterly swells of 10 seconds will prevail this afternoon and tonight. Low tide at 3 is followed by high tide at 9. That's the latest weather, and I am meteorologist Dean Wallace. 217
tickets were issued to motorists under 6 hours. Among the tickets issued, 129 were issued to motorists for exceeding the speed limit. 10 drivers received tickets for defective tires, while 27 received tickets for breaches of no parking and other traffic signs. One driver received a ticket for failing to secure a child under 5 years in a child seat. This information was confirmed by the police service, who said they issued the tickets during an exercise on Wednesday in different areas, including the Churchill Roosevelt Highway, the Diego Martin Highway, Uriah Butler Highway, and the Sir Solomon Hochoy Highway. Why does Trinidad and Tobago still use the Privy Council as its final court of appeal? Well, this is the question raised by the Law Association, and which is to be discussed at a symposium at the Napa South campus on Saturday. Today on Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago, the Law Association president also raised the question, stating it contradicted the country's independence.
Every August we celebrate our independence, and yet we have this contradiction in terms that for our final court of appeal we go to the Queen, Her Majesty in Council, the Judicial Committee, which was originally the Committee of Trade and Plantations, and we go there to have them tell us how we should order our lives.
Business, yeah.
Also here for the discussion is retired Indian High Court Judge Justice Sri Krishna. He recounted similar arguments when India moved away from the Privy Council and pointed out that going to the Privy Council was very expensive.
Look at the cost that is involved to an individual litigant. In any democracy, you must give the access to justice at the nearest point available to the citizen and at the lowest cost possible. So in order to travel all the way to London, engage lawyers, Queen's Counsel and paralegals was tremendously costly.
Well, it's that time of year again. The Tobago Jazz Experience 2017 was launched at the Cape Park Hotel on Thursday night. Newly appointed THA Secretary for Tourism and Culture, Nadine Stewart-Phillip, says this year's event, scheduled for April 22nd to 30th, promises to be the best yet. Dion Batiste tells us more.
Finally, after months of waiting, the lineup has been revealed. The star-studded cast of performers expected to grace the stage at the Tobago Jazz Experience 2017 are D'Angelo and Vanguard, Grace Jones, Shabba Ranks, Morgan Heritage and TNT's own Kess. Speaking at Thursday's launch, Tourism and Culture Secretary for the Tobago House of Assembly, Nadine Stewart-Phillip, said the THA remains committed to positioning Tobago as the gem of the Caribbean for hosting festivals.
This event is designed not only for the music lover, but to also showcase Tobago, a diverse group of artists and patrons from around the world. As your new Secretary of the Division and hostess for this event, I am particularly pleased to be associated and involved in this event and to reinforce the Tobago House of Assembly's commitment to rejuvenating the tourism and culture sectors in Tobago.
She assumed office 3 days ago, but the THA Tourism Secretary promises to hit the ground running. Mr. Stewart-Phillip said we live in economically trying times, which emphasizes the need for tourism to be used as a tool to diversify the economy.
I pledge my commitment to working tirelessly with all entities to ensure that this industry remains sustainable for Tobago. 9 years ago, hosting this jazz experience in Tobago shows that we have grown as an island, and our commitment remains steadfast in improving our event offerings and attracting tourist arrivals to Tobago.
Despite the expected challenges, she said the commitment to improve the event's offerings remains steadfast.
Destination Tobago and our tourism industry will not be immune to the many challenges currently facing our economy and the overall industry. However, ladies and gentlemen, despite these challenges currently faced, it is my mantra to further strengthen the collaboration and communication amongst all stakeholders in our efforts to ensure that tourism industry returns to buoyancy and also thrives during economic times.
She added that it's the aim of the THA to ensure that Tobago remains a strong, viable option for domestic, regional and international markets. Dion Batiste, C News.
Well, THA Secretary of Finance, Planning and the Economy, Joel Jack, speaking at the Export to Canada workshop, said the session is all part of the THA's commitment towards diversifying the island's economy.
Let me say that today's event, this event, is a culmination of a journey, and this is also part of this administration's goal towards our attempt towards diversifying Tobago economy and to as well assist in the expansion of the Tobago private sector.
He reaffirmed the THA's commitment to support local agro-processors and other entrepreneurs. He said more monies would be pumped into that sector.
Let me say that today, in total, this assembly would have invested over $55 million to assist over 1,500 entrepreneurs throughout these programs. And I am pleased to announce that we will be operationalizing our $500,000 revolving loan program to support agro-processors.
Nazira Mohammed joins us now to tell us what's coming up in sport.
Well, Karen, the Red Force eked out a very narrow victory against the Leeward Island Hurricanes over in Antigua last night. Trinidad and Tobago Red Force produced a tremendous fight back with a win by a thriller of 11 runs over the Leeward Islands Hurricanes in Coolidge, Antigua. The 2016-2017 season of Domestic Professional Football League will come to a dramatic climax on the weekend when Central FC and W Connection both having a chance to snatch a title on closing day this Sunday. Whichever direction the title goes eventually, it will set things up nicely for the new season, which begins roughly 2 months later in May. CEO of the league, Dexter Skeen, looks ahead with anticipation as changes are ushered in for the new campaign.
2017, the TT Pro League is poised to move the calendar back to being in line with the MLS. This will have several advantages for the teams and the league. I am excited by the reality that the owners of the league are not afraid to make bold decisions to benefit and contribute to the sustainability of the organization. New ownership groups and clubs, both foreign and local, continue to express genuine interest. New corporate partners want to align with the TT Pro League. In this regard, our current corporate partners can rest assured that the league's view is one of exclusivity. We want to make sure that we build relationships with corporate partners and afford them the brand platform to meet their strategic objectives.
While the league will be wrapped up on Sunday, the current seasons officially end with the Digital Pro Bowl, the season's final knockout competition. The quarterfinals of that tournament kicks off next Tuesday and will do so with one significant change from a winner-takes-all format.
And in this vein, not only will the winning team take home $100,000, but a new scheme will be employed. In the past, we have had the MVP and the most goals coming from any of the teams, but to keep it consistent with the winning-takes-all concept, we decided that only the winners will benefit in this instance.
Defending champions, the Defense Force, have been drawn against San Juan Jabloteh in the first round, and head coach Marvin Gordon is hoping to find consolation for a slow start to the new year, as the Soldiers have not been able to put points on the board. And that was the sport for today.
Well, that's the CNews report at noon. I'm Karen Kozia-Phillip.
And I'm Nasira Mohammed.
Remember, for up-to-date and breaking news throughout the day, you can visit the CNews website at ctvtt.com. Do have a good afternoon.